Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Illumineers Quest podcast, where we talk everything Lorcana. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jacob.
And thanks for coming on this journey with us. Okay, this is a special bonus episode that we're doing because guess what? I know you don't really have to guess. What your guess is going to be the right answer because we've talked about it, but guess what?
I don't know. I can't think about it. What is it?
This is our 1 year anniversary episode.
Holy cow.
Can you believe that? Did you think genuinely, be very genuine and don't lie to me. Did you think we would do this for an entire year? Do you think we would make it this long?
No.
I honestly don't. Like, that's obviously my initial thought too, is like, there's no way. But we didn't have any expectations when we started, right? It wasn't
True.
It was just like,
True.
we literally could not stop talking about the game.
So we made a podcast.
And so we made a podcast because I don't know. We was just like, well, if we're going to sit here and talk about it all day, we might as well put it on the internet. So we can, listen to ourselves or archive it, or I don't know why initially, but I think we wanted to do that. And then I kind of wanted to open stuff up on YouTube just to like have those moments kind of captured literally for that, because, it was so special. And it was such like a new chapter. We're a year in now, and this is by far my biggest hobby. And I devote a lot of, my mind power to it because I, just enjoy thinking about the games and the strategy and everything. But yeah, this is just like a very big part of our life now.
It's a substantial part of our life. Like it's insane. Like a social life, just thinking about, it all the time. Like it's now something that we do on a weekly basis in multiple terms. Like, yeah,
this is like our social circle, which will definitely is one of the points we're gonna, make when we talk about some of the big, kind of keystone moments of the past year. But yeah, it's just, I would have never thought that this would have, gotten as big as it was. When we started, I definitely thought that, we'd have a lot of fun and compete or whatever, but it was mainly about like learning a new game and having fun with each other. And, we would usually like our, families would get together and hang out, I don't know, once a month, maybe, once every 5 or 6 weeks. And, we do Disney trivia, or we, play games or whatever the case might be. And so this would just be another like fun activity we could do when we're getting together. But yeah, it's engulfed like our group that we, when we hang out together, we're usually playing Lorcana. If we're not on the podcast, or when we finish the podcast, we always play Lorcana. We have, 4 group chats that all we talk about is Lorcana.
True.
So, it's just a very, very, very fascinating, turn of events. And as passionate about it as forever, because it's so much fun, and they continue to develop the game so well.
We might have to stop this intro part so we can get into the actual.
Yeah, I guess that was probably way too long of an intro, because we're definitely going to recap. Or I imagine I'm going to rehash some of that, but yeah, it's very, very special. It's a 1 year anniversary.
It's special, dude. I can't believe we're here.
Yeah. So, we might as well just jump into it so we can actually sit here and reminisce versus just like talking about that in the opening segment. But yeah, again, very, I guess sentimental at this point. So everyone who's been along with us for this entire year, shockingly, there was a lot at the very beginning. And I hope, some of those that were here at the beginning are still around. And if you were, and you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, where you can leave comments, like seriously, please leave us a comment or shoot us a note at our email at lorcanapod@gmail.com. I would love to know how many people are, that had started with us from the beginning, or maybe not the very first episode, but, somewhere towards the very, very beginning of it, that are still with us. And, as always, if you want to support the show, the easiest way to do so is through our TCG Play affiliate link. You can see that in the description box below from wherever you're watching / listening. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into it, because I want to be sentimental and reminisce. But
I know it's gonna be a sappy episode.
Yeah, we gotta get into all of our little ones first. So yeah, card of the week. We've got another cool one. This one.
So we got the new Amethyst Cogsworth, and I need to bring up the.
Yeah, you're the keeper of the. Actually, I might have the list pulled up. But yeah, the new Cogsworth, who's the 1-cost inkable, the 1/1 stat line, and is an Amethyst, as Jake said, and his I've got it right here, Jake. Okay. What is it? It's a subtext? Is that the actual correct term for it? Subtext, the Illuminary Wixman?
Watchman.
Watchman. I was about to say
Watchman.
Yeah, Illuminary Watchman. Oh, I get it. Yeah. It was very small text where it was. And so, yeah, 1 inkable, 1/1 stat line, quests for 1. but his ability is definitely what sets him apart, and he's has the ability to grant another player or another character rush.
Yeah, when you play this character, chosen character gains rush this turn.
So I think why this, there are obviously a few other ways to grant players or other characters rush. Vital Sphere being one of them. The Rabbit's Pocket Watch, White Rabbit's Pocket Watch from Chapter 1 is another one of them. But I think this one is the best thus far. One, it only costs 1. The Vital Sphere costs 1 and then 1 to activate, and so that's 2. Pocket Watch costs 3 if I remember correctly. So not only is it the cheapest option, you can bounce it and use it again if you really wanted to. But I think most impactfully, they don't see it coming. If the Pocket Watch is on the board, like you're like, okay, I got to watch out for that. If the Vital Sphere is on the board because they're both items, it's like, okay, I got to watch out for that.
I mean, this could easily take the cake as one of the best one drops in the game.
This one, however, is most likely in somebody's hand, and they play something else and this the same turn to give that other thing rush. I mean, which obviously I think that's the best way to do it, and so you just don't see it coming. So I'm gonna pose you. I didn't think about this until just now, but I have to say it, and you're gonna pick up on where I'm going with this very fastly.
I got it.
Is Heroic Outlaw making a comeback with this? Probably not, right?
We say it every set.
Probably not, right?
Probably not.
Is there a chance?
There's a chance.
Is there a chance? I mean, a 4 lore swing. If people start doing crazy goat bounce stuff again, and with all the 1 or 2 lore game, tight races, if you can do a 4 lore shift and get some board presence,
Can that be one of our missions this set?
To try to make Heroic Outlaw come back?
We can do it, right?
I think the problem is that
it's turn 7.
Well, turn 8, because you have to Aladdin and Cogs, and you're probably not playing Street Rat to shift him, because that's just too slow, and then that's a setup that people can start to expect potentially. So I mean,
if you do like if you do some sort of shift on 5, or you do a shift target on 5, then 6 you shift Cogs. It's not terrible.
But I think it's way slower than you realize. Because
do we have a 5-drop Aladdin that's somewhat good?
I don't think so. I think
Ruby Amethyst?
I think they're all really cheap. I mean, let me Google or not Google, but let me search real quick.
It's not one in the new set that I.
There's only Ruby Steel. There's the 3 from the first set, or the 4 from the first set, and the 2 from the last set. So the 3 Steel ones, the 2 Ruby ones, and the 1 Emerald one. So no, there's not one. I don't see it being a line where you can ever shift it. So is it going to come back? No, probably not. Am I very hopeful that there's some way to fit like one of them into your deck and make it, like, I don't know, catch your opponent off guard?
We're getting a deck box of it, dude, and sleeves, so we need to make it happen.
I know. The Enchanted has come way down in price too, and it's one of my favorite Enchanted. So
we might need to jump on that.
I'm going to be very smart about my booster box purchases from here on out, and I'm going to start buying singles. And so hopefully I save enough money to where I can just buy 1 or 2 Enchanteds when I want them, versus buying 75 boxes and getting 2 Enchanteds out of them. Shout out James, who has opened 50 packs in his lifetime and pulled 5 Enchanteds.
Pretty good odds.
Not salty about it at all.
No,
but
you're not. Obviously.
Yeah, Cogsworth. So seriously, Cogsworth is going to be insane. There are a lot of cards that he's going to have a lot of synergies with. Especially with all the bounce shenanigans. If you're the first one that comes to my mind, which it's a very big setup, but it would be like the biggest shift in the entire game potentially, is bounce Crab with Elephant. So Elephant has 6 strength and 7 willpower and play Cog, so that he has rush in the same turn. And so it's a massive combo, like I said, but that just seems like that's back-breaking for you to come back from.
So one that I was thinking of that would be easy for Ruby Amethyst would be like a turn 1 Cogs.
I don't think you ever play Cogs on 1.
I think so. Hang with me here.
Okay.
Turn 1 Cogs. Turn 2 Flynn. Turn 3. You play Snake on the Cogs and play Cogs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Rush Cogs. Like I remember Rush Snake.
No, because it's when you play him. It's
Yeah,
not when you bounce.
Turn 3.
Oh, turn 3. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean that's not a terrible play. I mean I think it's okay, but I think he's more of a late, like a mid to late game.
That exact play line that
Get
I just
something
said is
else.
be meta. Just watch.
It very well could be. I'm not saying it's bad by any means, but also know that the turn 1, whatever turn 2 snake bounce that was massively meta in set 2. Like it's not meta to bounce on 2 anymore. If you're bouncing on 2, you're giving up a ton of tempo, and you just don't want to do it.
I'm saying bounce on 3.
Yeah, but you can also snake bounce on 3 or fox bounce on 3 and just straight up kill something. So you don't need to snake bounce, replay cogs. You just fox bounce and go.
Yeah, but you get 2 characters.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think there's merit to it, and I understand where you're going, especially in a world where in a Daisy Duck realm, where you need as many bigger bodies on board as you can. No, but see, I'm talking myself out of it. Yeah, if you want, if in that sense, you would definitely want Fox, but yeah. So I don't know. Cogsworth's going to be amazing. I think he's going to be one of the top 5 cards of the set, probably. So yeah, get to know Cogs, the Illuminary Watchman, if you don't know him already. Watchman, because he's a watch and he's watching over the Illuminary.
But he is also a man that was made into a clock.
Yeah, but he's a watchman because he's watching over the Illuminary. That's the pun.
So is he does he chill with the brooms?
I don't know. I mean, if you look at like the art from Cogsworth, he's like actually, part of like the Illuminary team that's watching over the destroyed Illuminary, I guess. And so, yeah, he's an Illuminary watchman.
Subtext is step 2 at time is of the essence, so he's in charge of somebody.
Yeah, he's watching over the Illuminary.
All
right. Oh man, he's a Illuminary watchman. Oh, I turned it. Gosh, I messed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Lori time. I'm so punny. Okay, that's enough. God, I'm so cringe. I'm sorry, everybody listening. I know, I get it. I'm dad jokes. I'm not a dad, but I might as well be with these terrible jokes. So.
You're a dog dad. You're good.
Yeah, that's fair. He likes my terrible jokes though. So, okay. Moving on. So, what's on our mind? Quickly recap. I think the biggest thing we talked about last episode / our chapter 2 recap is
chapter 4.
Chapter 4. I'm talking about chapter 2. I don't know because snake bounce on chapter 2, whatever. I'm just excited to start getting into this new meta. Like that's it's time to start brewing the new stuff. It's time to really get out of it. I had a very distinguished style in set 4, and I'm kind of curious at what that's going to be in set 5. I've never been a really big bounce player, but I see a ton of potential in Amethyst Steel, and so I kind of want to test some of that out. So yeah, I'm just excited to see kind of where this set evolves and how Pete's going to change the meta. Because Pete's going to be the biggest meta defining card.
So I agree with you on that, but I want to talk about something very specific to me.
Hit it.
So as you mentioned, I think last episode is we're going to Disney World.
I think / will have been back from Disney World. I don't know. Yeah, we will either have been going to Disney World tomorrow or have just been back from Disney World, depending on when this comes out. I'm pretty sure this comes out after Disney World. Okay. So let's rephrase. We just got back from Disney World.
We're back. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a really fun time.
But at Disney World, I hopefully / already did took a bunch of playable cards that I'll probably play with in the set and got signed by the characters.
Well, I thought you were going to say, wasn't one of your goals for 24, like at the beginning of the year, to play in the lobby of one of the hotels?
That was my other point here.
Okay,
yeah, so thank you.
I'm jumping the gun on that.
Lobby of the Contemporary. That's the
specifically the Contemporary.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it went from broad to specifically lobby of the Contemporary.
I knew you had mentioned the Contemporary, but I didn't know like that was the ultimate goal. I thought it was either the Contemporary or one of the other like super fancy ones like the Boardwalk or the Glam Floridian or Polynesian or one of those like iconic very fancy ones.
It's specific contemporary. We play a match and the monorail goes by. That's what I would.
But
that's what I want.
the lobby, you don't see the monorail. Like in the first floor lobby, like if you're talking about like
I'm talking about the lobby like that has like the main floor.
Yeah.
Say that.
Okay.
Main floor.
So we need to eat dinner there one night then is what you're saying and bring our cards.
Pretty sure there's a table we could just.
I'm sure you could, but if you're going to go up there, you might as well eat while you're there. So anyways, so I'm glad we did that too. That was a really fun time.
I mean, it was great. Except for that like one really stupid joke you made that kind of hurt my feelings. Thank you. I thought I was getting the other sound effect on that one, but
yeah, I think it's also very crazy that we like, I don't think it was necessarily one of the goals to set out, but being at Disney for the release of the new set will just have a different energy about it for sure.
Not only the release of the new set, but
the D23 sets,
which my boy Oswald's in it. So
yeah, gonna be trying to get one of those for show. Okay, so yeah, I think it's
ready to jump in.
You want to jump into the main topic of the day, which is the sappy reminiscing of the year in Lorcana. I mean, this isn't just like us, but this is like us reflecting on the first year of Lorcana. The game is mainly what we're going to start with here, and how much the game's changed. Kind of some of our favorite moments. The most memorable moments from the year. So yeah, I mean, I think let's start from the beginning. And one of the first things that we both said was one of the most memorable is just like opening day.
Well, I mean, we can even go before opening day, like the build up to it, because like I mean, for the longest time it was like we collected Pokemon and always wanted to play a card game. This got announced at D23, and it's like, this is the game. This is when we're going to finally learn.
Yeah, we finally said that we were going to like it. It was the perfect time for us to have a new activity to do together because it wouldn't be thousands of cards of history like Magic or Pokemon. You could just we could just jump into it and be kind of a newbie and ready to go.
And if there's one thing that we share love for, it is Disney. So it made perfect sense.
Our families have definitely shared a lot of fun times together over Disney.
I mean,
stuff.
The reason like our families got super close was because of Disney quiz nights. So
Disney trivia, Disney quiz nights. Yep.
I mean, it made a ton of sense.
Yeah, it definitely did. It definitely did.
And then we decided that we talked about it too much to not record ourselves.
So we started the podcast so that we could talk about it and have some sort of positive impact come out of it.
And I will never listen to those first episodes again because I don't want to hear how bad it was.
We really should though. Like we should actually. I say that, but I don't want to listen to it either because I'm sure it's terrible. I think the craziest thing is I remember, but the first time before we did it, I was like, I'm nervous out of my mind. And now it's just second nature.
Super
I mean, I don't remember exactly what episode number this is, but I want to say it's like, God, I think we're on like 65-ish, 70-ish.
Wow. That's crazy.
And we're 52 weeks in, so we're just over, or we're over a year, so we're like almost like 1.25 a week. There's just been so much stuff to talk about that. Something crazy happens or something crazy is revealed and we're like, oh my God, we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
When we getting together to do it. So yeah, I mean, a lot of that's happened too, but yeah, opening day, it genuinely was like Christmas.
It was like, I know this might sound weird, but it was like the feeling you get when you go to Disneyland or Disney World.
Oh,
like
I was so excited.
It felt
Disney
magical.
Do you remember like that opening day going to the card store and getting our stuff and coming back home and like the anticipation of us getting ready to open all the stuff?
I couldn't believe that we were going to actually see the cards in person and like actually play the game.
Yeah, that is like, I mean, Inside Out, that's like a core memory for me. Like it really is. That's I know it's only a year old. And so, I mean, there's, as far as like the whole lifespan of, my life goes, I mean, it's not that long, but it's still very much one of those core memories just because I think what it represented, we talk, I mean, in my long sappy opening spiel, it's just like, it's changed this past year of our lives has been so different. And so from that regard, it was very, very big, like pivotal shift from the game. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about us, but the game, yeah, I mean, obviously like getting to see all those chapter 1 cards and just being like, way over our heads, as far as like
we broke the game day 1, right?
Well, we thought you did. Yeah, Jake just went like hyper aggro 1 and 2 cost everything and was just like turn 1 cost, turn 2 1 costs, turn 3 1 costs, and I was like, how do I beat this?
I think I literally ran, I was Ruby Amethyst. I ran every one drop possible.
It was Archimedes and Sergeant Tibbs and Pascal.
Mini Olaf, Pascal,
Maleficent.
And then Pongo as my evasive 4-drop at the time. And then I ran Dragonfire.
Imagine like you did that today and I just played something that shifted on 3 with grab your swords. Like, I would be like, this is the worst deck of all time.
Do you remember we almost contacted
Yes, I do remember. I was like, this is so bad. Like, why would they create a game that is just this stupid broken and all you have to do is play these fast characters? Like, we were that naive about it.
Yeah.
And I guess we're really outing ourselves for people that, listen locally because they're going to know that we're like incredible noobs, but we really did. It's that funny to look back on. That was like day 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I know, because I know mainly our first day was opening all the stuff and then going to our first league night. Mm-hmm. And then I'm pretty sure day 2 is when you and your family came back over and we all played again. And I'm pretty sure that's when you changed to that deck.
I think so. Yeah.
So opening.
I think we did like starter decks at league day 1.
Yeah. Yeah, because the first day we definitely did starter decks. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what a crazy time. Just, it had everything. I mean, we both got our first enchanteds. Well, no, I don't think I got mine till day 2.
Because yours was the Stitch.
Yeah, I don't think I got mine till day 2. But you got yours in your first box.
Yeah, Hades' first box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is just mind-boggling to think about.
And then I think my brother got like one of his in his first.
No,
box.
I don't think.
Or was that much later?
Well, they didn't buy them initially.
I think you're right.
Because I know your dad definitely didn't, and I don't think your brother did, and I think they saw us opening them. I think they just got starter decks. They just had starter decks.
I completely remember. Like, I forgot. Like, they weren't hyped about the game.
They weren't going to play. They were just going to collect a little bit on the side.
And now they go to league.
We roped them in. But they just got starter decks, and they played with us, and then once they played with us, they're like, all right, let's get some boxes.
Yep.
And I can't believe they had more boxes to buy.
Dude, I think, that's
because I think that first day we ended up getting a couple more than we initially pre-ordered.
We opened a ton that day.
It had to have been 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Between like all 6 of us or 5 of us, 4 of us.
4 of us. Math.
Yeah, math is tough. And then so I kind of touched on. We already kind of touched on the next one, but like our league, like our initial league experiences. We had never done and not even the performance in the league or being good enough to play in the league or whatever, but just we had never played a game before, as you already mentioned. So that was part of the thing we wanted to do was to to play in a league and make this part of like the routine.
Yeah, and I mean it definitely has like become
absolutely massive part of the weekly routine.
I basically call them the masters because they basically trained us to become what we are now at this point. But
yeah, I think we can like definitely reflect back on that because they've moved on to other games now. We've definitely talked about them, but Chase and Ricky were the two. We were the Padawans to their Jedis.
Yeah,
because they taught us everything. So I'll never forget. I sat down my first time at like actual not the first like starter deck night at league, but like the first real generic deck night. Yeah. I don't even remember what I built. I don't know what cards I had put together. I don't remember anything about that because I had no idea what I was doing. Mm-hmm. I just remember getting ran over by Chase and it probably turned 5 or 6. Like I remember he was playing Surfer Stitch. I remember that for sure because I remember he drew a couple off of Surfer Stitch in one turn, and I was like, what am I doing here? And I remember actually saying out loud, "Well, this is over," and he was like, "Well, yeah, with that attitude, it is." And then he was super not, but he didn't mean it in a bad way, obviously. And then we got to talking, and he let me play his deck and talked through the game with me. And from that point on, I had completely and utterly reshaped the way I thought about the game. 180 degrees different.
I remember you walked over to me and said, "My mind is blown." I completely changed my mindset on this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what happened, though, because before that, we thought Pascal, Sergeant Tibbs, and Archimedes broke the game.
Yeah.
And so that gives you an idea of how much of a different thought process that that encounter gave me. I mean, before that, we thought you play a character, you quest, and you just go, and you hope that you get a card that quests for more or that can like positively trade into something. But after that, we realized that you don't always quest, and if you're going to get taken out and not have the interaction that's positive for you, then you just don't do it. And we've got extremely strategic after that.
I mean, it's crazy to think about the original. It's nuts to reflect on that. It's absolutely crazy.
Those leagues were massive at that point too. You know, it's still a little bit bigger than it is now, but you know, we're starting to get back to that spot. But they were massive and had tons of experienced players and a lot of fun, just because it was so many people and so many new people. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to think like the growth and then the inevitable like falling off of the league, and then now it's rebuilding itself naturally.
It's booming again.
And what's crazy is like it's not forced, you know, like the new growth of the league. It's not forced at all. It's not because of a specific thing. It's just these people just gradually coming.
Well, yeah, some of it's I wouldn't say forced, but some of it's definitely not organic in the sense that Michael's been pitching the heck out of the league.
True.
As we mentioned previously. But there are a couple families that just started coming, and I think we were, you know, a fun group, and it, you know, made it a good time, and so they continue coming.
I would say we're definitely one of the more like casual local groups.
Definitely casual and fun. Definitely just casual and fun.
I'm definitely not down talking any of the other communities and stores. It's just that's just how our community, our specific community at our store naturally grew into.
Well, there's a ton. I think we kind of forced it into that, which is, I guess, good in the sense that they allowed us to shape it into the way that we wanted. You know, there's one about 30 minutes away from us that is ran through melee and is matched up and does, you know, basically 3 rounds of Swiss, and, you know, whoever comes out on top, that's kind of how the league night goes. And there are times where I go to that one too, and, you know, want to be a little bit more competitive environment, but, you know, on Tuesdays we just go to have fun.
Yeah.
And we just hang out, and there's no pairings. We just play against our friends and, you know, do a lot of just, you know, casual fun play. So,
I mean, it's to think of like the original. Like I remember when you found out that they were doing a league, and it was like you were talking about and it was like, oh, this is gonna be like this.
That was part of my initial hope. I mean, I definitely remember when I went in and pre-ordered the Chapter 1 stuff. Like I asked that question. I was like, "Are you guys doing a league?" Because I knew that Pokemon leagues existed, and I knew that Magic leagues existed, obviously. And so my assumption was that the same thing would happen. And yeah, so.
I mean, just to think of it, that's gradually grown into a natural part of our lives.
Yeah, and you were. I don't know if I would say you were on the fence, but you definitely weren't as gung ho about it as I was.
So I mean, this is going super personal, but like, I was dealing with a lot of mental health stuff at the time, and I'll give the credit to Lorcana, like, and you, like, it was a big part of getting me out of that.
That's
bug.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but yeah, I know that was one of the things that I wanted to do just because I wanted to learn the game, and I know going to league and having like a consistent place to play would make that, you know, more developmental, I guess, from a skill standpoint. But yeah, it was fun. Okay. I think this one is another one of those memories that will like always be there. First time we played multiplayer.
Which is funny to think about because we haven't done it much since.
I know we need, and I don't know why. Like I think I don't know if I told you this or if I said it on the podcast or who I told this to, but my birthday's coming up, and
we had this conversation. This was you and me,
and I'm 100% having a multiplayer birthday party, like where that's what we like. It's not a Lorcana. I mean, it is a Lorcana birthday party, but the activities of the night are multiplayer games, not competitive, you know, sweaty, meta-defining games.
Because I mean, we were so excited about it and so had so much fun that we made an episode about it. Which
Lorcana
if it's not terrible, you can go back and
Lorcana multiplayer experience, underrated, or whatever the title of it was. But I think it was. I actually titled it "Is Very Underrated." But yeah, I mean, it's fantastic.
I mean, we have my mom, like it was you, me, my brother, and dad playing.
Yeah.
And my mom, it was so funny watching. She recorded it, and it's us four yelling at each other and like trying and just playing mind games on them.
And you backstabbing me. I remember that too.
Yeah, I did. I backstabbed everyone. I gradually got people on my side, and then as soon as it was beneficial for me, immediately stabbed the back.
I think we need to play a couple games next time we do it and have like preset, like play 2v2 so that we have preset teams a couple times, do free for alls where, that's more open to backstab people. But also then, play a couple 2v2 games, which I don't know the rules for 2v2. I don't know if it's like the first person or if it's like Ursula's,
If it's like Ursula's
Deep
Return
Trouble where
Deep
both
Trouble,
of you have to get to 20. I don't really know. Maybe we can just kind of make our own rules, but that was a very, very fun memory as well, and a very exciting time. And again, I would, for anybody listening that plays it, I don't want to say casually, but that doesn't play the game to be uber competitive, to win all the events. If you want a fun family activity, play Lorcana multiplayer.
Or even just with your friends. Like you have some friends that you can have a good time with.
Yeah.
Pop it out for a second. Even just like starter decks. If you want to do just
starter decks are perfect for that.
They are.
So that was a definitely big one too, and we need to get back on that one. But I think after that, obviously there was, I don't want to say a downtime, but there was some dark ages of product availability for how long was it? Probably 2 months, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe 2.5 months.
And that's when we saw the decline in League.
That really had a big impact on the normal turnout.
And we saw a lot of our foundational players there start to leave. And then is when specifically we started getting that smaller, closer group together. And that's we've talked about him a few times, but we got to shout out our boy Michael.
Yeah, Michael was one of the few that stuck around with us, luckily. I just realized we haven't seen Ian since chapter 1. You remember Ian? God, I miss Ian.
Dude, I miss Ian so much.
Ian was, I think you would agree with, Ian was the funnest.
Yeah,
the funnest
100%,
member of the locals league, that chapter 1.
I think about him a lot. I'm like, man, this would be I don't know whatever happened.
I remember he said he was a teacher and he had
he was a music teacher.
Yeah, and there were after school activities on league night that he was going to have to start doing for the fall, but his plan was to come back at the beginning of the year, and that just never happened. So I guess he just kind of fell out of the game and whatever, like most of the people did. But yeah, there was probably 10 people ish of the 25 that would come on a regular basis that were from other games. And so my guess is those, I think basically all of those 10 have left or did leave around that time. And I imagine it was because they couldn't get the cards either. And so I'll just go back to the other game then.
Do you remember how long we knew Michael until we told him we had a podcast?
We didn't tell anybody. I don't think we told anybody till mid chapter 2.
And you didn't tell anyone. I had to force
I definitely didn't tell anybody. I still haven't told anybody.
First person I told was Travis.
Oh, yeah, I remember that for sure. I know Travis always listens too. Shout out Travis.
He's a huge listener to the podcast.
Yeah, he's one of the massive local community hype men too.
Oh, he's the best. Travis is the best.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just it was definitely a dark age. I think that's a very accurate way to put it, because it was I could never build the decks. There were 2 decks I wanted to build. I couldn't get Elsa's. I couldn't get Belle's. And so not Elsa's, I couldn't get Rapunzel's, I couldn't get Belle's, and so I couldn't build the decks I wanted, and so I played some crazy off-meta stuff because that's all I could get my hands on. So yeah, that was definitely, the most, cloudy time of the year.
Yeah.
Easily. I can't think of another time that's even remotely close to the...
I can think of one that's remotely close.
What?
The set 2 meta.
No, I knew that. Obviously we need to talk about that too, but that's not near as bad as not being able to get cards. Was it frustrating? Sure. But it's more frustrating to not be able to sustain a league and sustain a a player base.
No, that's fair. When everyone started dropping flies, it was
that was really disheartening.
It was, because it felt already oh no, the game's failing.
Yeah, and then it popped back in a little bit when chapter 2 came out and they had something, but then the same deal, there for a month, it was, not everybody was able to get everything they needed. And so then it started to die off until about Christmas time when they started restocking a lot. And then from there, I think we were fine. But
yeah, it's just to think of the growth and how it's changed is just, we've got a great friend Cooper that started showing up. We got
Cooper hasn't been there forever.
You know what? You're right.
I think it's been longer since he's been there than you've been there.
So he hasn't been like when I've not been there?
No, he hasn't been there.
Oh no.
I know. I hope he comes back, but yeah, you know, that we have, I mean, we're definitely going to talk about that too. Like the, you know, the overall like kind of feel and vibe of the league, but yeah, so we're at the end of the year now, essentially beginning of 2020 or end of 2023, but beginning of 24. And I just mentioned the restocks, and that's when I pulled Elsa.
Enchanted.
Yeah, the Elsa Enchanted. So I had terrible luck on Chapter 1 stuff, and, you know, our local store got restocks at the end of the year, and one of the boxes that I got had Elsa Enchanted in it, and yeah, still got that bad boy locked away, obviously.
It's in a 3-layered vault.
It's buried underground. Like there's a
vault.
You have to know where to dig. Yeah, you have to know where to dig, and then when you know where to dig in the right spot, you can get to the door of the vault, and then you have to unbury the door, open the door, you know, get into the vault, and then you can get Elsa. So if you want to try to find it, don't. You're not going to get
it. the actual in the vault though, like the code is like Disney song lyrics, right?
But you have to sing it in the right pitch, and it's a very weird pitch.
Okay.
And you also have to know what song, obviously.
Is it Strength of Raging Fire?
No.
Okay.
Nice try though. No, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think there's still a massive part of us that are collectors at heart when it comes to this activity / hobby. And yeah, so the Elsa Enchanted was the biggest collector memory that I have from the year for sure.
I guess I've completely transitioned away from collector because my luck sucks. So I guess I'm just a competitive player now.
My luck isn't any better than yours. The difference is that you're still very young and don't have near the disposable income that I do, and so I just spend every penny that I'm not spending on bills on Lorcana. So, sure. But no, yeah, I mean, obviously that collector side is still a big piece of it, but yeah. So moving on to like set 3 now, I think, you know, we're basically into the beginning of the year. When did set 3 come out? February? Yeah, February.
Okay.
February, March, April, May. Yeah, so because set 4 came out in May.
Okay.
June, yeah, May, June, July, and then August. Yeah, so February. And was that the first Lorecast?
No, the first Lorecast was
for set 4. Okay. So it was that was when they announced when. Oh no, but the Lorecast was during set 3 for set 4 and set championships. Yeah, so the set 3, the biggest memorable thing that I have, locations obviously really were the first thing that massively, you know, kind of put a wrinkle on the game. You know, we got resist in chapter 2, but that was just, you know, kind of another, you know, ability versus like completely new mechanic. And so we go into chapter 3, we have locations, but the biggest thing is the announcement of the competitive circuit with the Lorecast and the store championships and the Disney Lorcana challenges. So that was a big one for me because I think we had played in one tournament before that. Yeah, because it was chapter 2. We played in one set 2 tournament, and I did terrible. And I didn't play Ruby Amethyst because I don't think I had all the cards I needed still.
Yeah.
I don't think I had all the dragons I needed. The Maleficent Monsters dragons.
Yep.
But yeah, did terrible. I don't remember. How did you do? I don't even remember.
I did terrible too.
You did terrible too. Yeah. So we did terrible. Is what it is. You know, but that's why we played. It was like, okay, we got to get this experience under our belt and try it out. And then the store championships announcement came, and boy, were we hype.
So do you remember? It was the Lorecast, and I was watching on Twitch, and I had a dentist appointment that day. So like I had to in the car getting ready for the dentist appointment, and in the waiting room, I was watching the Lorecast texting you, and we were texting back and forth, which was when they made the one of the first things that made me absolutely freak out was the Illumineers Quest announcement.
The Ursula's Deep Trouble.
Because all Ryan Miller said Illumineers Quest, and I paused and went back and was like, wait,
yeah,
what did he just say?
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously a big one, or a big changing point, because it impromptu changed the intro of the show. You know, welcome to the Illumineers Quest podcast, where we talk everything Lorcana, not just the multiplayer version of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, the just the support, I guess, that showed. You know, it was very much like the first time that we had gotten a glimpse into like a lot of future plans. You know, for Set 2 release.
I think we likened it to like a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, for Set 2 and 3 release, they had, you know, like one big announcement, you know, like some social posts and, you know, like a blog post on the website where they would talk about, you know, like the new accessories and the new set name and some of the new theming and some of the big properties that would be introduced in the set.
Yep.
But that was pretty much it. And, you know, there was nothing else talked about from any activities or, you know, external event perspective. But with this one, it was, you know, the introduction of Ursula's Return for Set 4 and the Deep Trouble, you know, the Illumineers Quest product like you already talked about. And then they announced the store championships and the DLCs, which I think they had announced the DLCs, but I think this was the first time they talked about the
specifics.
Yeah, the specifics of like the time frames and where they would be.
Pricing, yeah, and you know,
and pricing, and pricing.
I think they did announce it, to be honest. Like I think they said there would be some sort of like hub tournament, but like then they said like, okay, this is Lorcana challenge.
Yeah, that was the first time we got that for sure. I mean, they had talked about them being like a competitive circuit, but this was the first time where we got any of the details. And so that's the big one for me, is because that's where the switch flipped. And it's like, all right, I want that Stitch card. I want that Stitch mat. I want those DLC promos. And so it's time to get the Rocky mode going.
Nope, copyright.
I can hum it.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's not gonna be close enough where it's gonna trigger anything because I'm a terrible musician / singer. But yeah, so that was a very, very, very like
pivotal.
Yeah, very changing the dynamic of the game for us, because we really did. I feel like I really did start training. I mean, that was the point where I started like logging my games. You know, what decks I was playing against, what deck I was playing. You know, if I won or lost, and really understanding the difference between play draw and the different strategies that come with going first and going second. And so, you know, that was very much another pivotal point in like the development of my gameplay and my game plan. So yeah, that's a huge one too.
Lorecast is a big point, yeah.
And then I think finally, which I'm not going to go into deeply because we just had an episode on it, but DLC Fort Worth getting top 16, hitting that invite to Continentals. I mean, obviously, like there's no bigger like true like thing that happened than that in the past year. I mean, that's just mind-boggling to think that can happen in the first year of me playing a game.
I mean, the first year of you playing any type of game. I mean, this is your first TCG ever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
To think that, and I mean, this kind of goes into that, but the realization of how good our local community is.
Yeah, that definitely. I mean, that didn't. I mean, yeah,
that happened in Atlanta.
That definitely happened to the DLCs. You know, we had played the set championships. I was lucky enough to win one in the Stitch era. Came in second in one as well. And you know, after all that happened, my assumption was, okay, I'm pretty good locally, but we're going to go to these bigger events and we're just going to get steamrolled. And then one of our local members, Devin, shout out Devin, made it to top 64. And I was like, we can hang.
Yeah.
You know, and it really made me realize how, there's a desk smash. I'm not sure what you were doing.
That my phone fell and hit the table.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So it was very clear after that moment that we can hang. And this is not only a very good local scene, but it gives you a lot of good practice because these players can hang.
And I mean, that only was solidified in the second DLC that everyone went to.
Yeah, well, we all missed Chicago. I mean, there might have been somebody locally that I don't know about, but there wasn't a big group that went to Chicago, but there were 20 plus of us that went to Fort Worth, 4 of us making top cut, including Cody. Top to make top cut, and then you know, make that 5, including I think 6 actually, because I think there was another one that wasn't like close to the inner circle, but Cody plus 1 more made Let It Go range. And so that shows you that it's not just one person that's better than the rest. It's this entire group has the potential to do that well.
I mean, because I unfortunately wasn't able to go to the Fort Worth DLC as planned. But it was like realizing like how good everyone was doing, how close everyone was to like getting top 64. It was insane. It's like, our group actually, like, we're worth a darn.
Yeah, we sure are. We're on the map. I mean, there's, God, I could probably roll off 10 names on people
Do it.
that are like in the set champs that are insane. So yeah,
Shout them out. We'll do it.
No, I don't want to like name drop and everything, but my point is that it's not like 2 or 3 people deep that this is a really good league. There's like double digits on people that are fantastic at the game. So there's a lot of depth to the area. Okay, so that kind of wraps up the big game stuff, but a few of the like personal / local things, you got recognized like just randomly, at the first, at our very, very first set championship.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I recognize your voice.
And this was a player, I mean, shout out Alex, but a player that like was doing very good competitively. He won local tournaments. Like,
he obliterated me in a box tournament that I went to like the weekend before. So yeah.
And then find out that he's a weekly listener of the podcast, or at least was at that point.
Shout out Alex again.
I mean, it
it
was me and you, like,
very surreal. Like my jaw literally dropped. So yeah, that's one of them. And then kind of along that same vein, I mean, I probably should have said this one first, but it was a lot earlier on. The first email we got, when shockingly the first episode, we actually had some listeners. Like there were people that listened to the first episode that first week. I don't remember how, many episodes in it was, but yeah, we started getting a couple emails and started getting community engagement and started getting, people interacting with us on social media and stuff like that. And so to see that people were actually positive about the work that we were putting in, I mean, this is not easy work. I mean, or I shouldn't say it's not easy work, because it is easy from that regard, but it's not. I mean, it's a time commitment. We spend at least a couple hours a week recording and trying to come up with episodes and thinking through ideas, and all the back end stuff on editing the episodes and uploading and all the descriptions and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's very time consuming from that regard. And to see that it was paying off was very, it made it all worth it.
And I mean, we're constantly putting research and time into the hobby itself, so it all ends up contributing to the podcast. So just to know that people were actually listening to us and actually cared about what we said was really cool.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's just been special.
Yeah, and then lastly, I think we have to just end on the community we built. We've said a ton of times, some of the friends we've made and stuff, but the crazy part to me is that we have made like genuine friends outside of Lorcana. I mean, we probably talk about Lorcana 99% of the time we're together, because again, like this has taken over most of our lives at this point.
Yeah.
But like we've hung out and we've done stuff outside of Lorcana, and we've obviously like mainly played Lorcana, but it's like we're not just seeing each other out of the league and then we go home and go our separate ways and come back and play again. It's we're talking and building a friendship, and I would consider 5 or 6, maybe even 7 or 8 of these people friends now at this point, which is wild to think.
And that's one of the things you hear like before getting into a game. Like, it's like, oh, you make these friend groups, you make communities. Like, that seems a little cheesy, a little cheeseball, not realistic. But you do, like, it's a natural progression too. You find like-minded people and even people from different walks of life and different kinds of people, and it's fantastic. It's really wonderful.
Shout out the inner circle: Tyler, Michael, James, Seth.
Man, it's that. I mean, as we're talking right now, the actual group chat itself is blowing up.
Is it popping off? Yeah, it is. Oh man, it is popping off. I have mine on mute, but I can see now that I'm looking at my phone. Yeah, there's a ton of them.
Which we all talk, like, we literally no exaggeration, we talk daily about it.
All card spoilers get posted in the group chat. All meta, kind of talk. Does this line work? Does this line work? All new card stuff. I mean, it's all like we discuss everything.
It's awesome. Like, I can't be more thankful of this experience in this game and what has come of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say anything better myself. besides thank you.
Wow.
I have to throw in some of the new effects now every now and then too. I don't know. I don't want to overdo it though. So I don't want to do it a ton because I don't want to overdo it and make it annoying. But
we already did probably. So
no, don't. I mean, it's not that bad because I'm going to give you crickets so much that I hope the cricket, like everybody's waiting for the crickets.
I gave you an opportunity too. I said cricky and you didn't pop off the crickets.
Yeah, like, that was last episode though. That one doesn't count.
I'm just saying. But.
Yeah, I just, again, super genuinely excited about the future of the game, the future of the community, the future endeavors that, you know, this game's going to bring us because, yeah, I mean, I've traveled twice now, like, you know, long trips for the game, which would never have happened without it. You know, the group, you know, camaraderie that we had along the way was really fun too. But, yeah, I hope everybody else has had kind of some of the same experiences when it comes to the game and the friendship building and, you know, take the, or have that same type of feel with their local community because it's been a blessing for us. But is there anything about the game that we didn't mention that is worth mentioning for the 1 year anniversary?
1 year anniversary about the game? I mean, it's just overall been like, I think that talking about like everyone was worried that, and I mean, there's still some talk about it, but like worried that this game was going to fall off hard or not be successful at all, right? You know, and,
right.
And to think of like the tickets for the challenge selling out, you know, within the first 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. Like not even being able to get tickets to Atlanta.
And like product as soon as it's put it on shelves, immediately sell out. Just to think of
scalpers.
Oh my god.
The scalpers back in chapter 1 and beginning of chapter 2
I know,
made me so angry.
I know one of them by name because we said his name all the time because we were so pissed off about it. But like just to think of like all of that and like how far we've come from it and just the game itself. The
progression of we didn't really talk much about, you know, I don't remember what we gave our initial rating when we started the game, but it was probably a 5 or 6. You know, looking back now, we were definitely a 2 or 3 maybe. You know, I would definitely consider myself like an 8 or 9 at this point, which 9's probably too high.
I'd say you're a 9.
No, 9's too high.
You're going to Continentals. You're at least a 9.
I don't know. A 9's probably a little too high. I'll definitely give myself an 8.
Josh was a 10. Josh was a 10.
Yeah, that's I can agree with that. I mean, if you have to give somebody a 10, then he definitely.
Josh was 11. We'll say
him and Bivens are definitely like in the 10 range. Bivens is going to Italy, like he's probably there now.
Wow.
To go be the first player to qualify for both Continentals.
Wow.
I mean, obviously he has to do it.
Yeah.
You know, he has to. I mean, he has to actually qualify. But yeah, shout out Zach Bivens. I doubt he listens, but yeah.
I mean, hey, Zach, if you do listen, just quick email. We don't even have to mention it, just so you're aware.
I think that wraps it up here for you know, I mean, just so many cool memories, so many new cool things to come. Yeah, it's gonna be another great time. So here's to year 2.
All right, cheers.
Thanks everyone.